Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for attending this talk, telling my history. So, my flight history. So, since I was a child, I always liked to cast my eyes up to the sky and watch the birds flying. And whenever I saw an airplane, I wished to be in it. But in my family, flying, that's learning how to fly, was something I couldn't even talk about, because a cousin of mine had been killed in an accident with his Cessna a couple of years ago. When I went gliding with some friends, I always did it without telling my parents. Finishing my studies in Germany, you see, I am German, but I've been living in Spain for many years. So finishing my studies in Germany to become a translator and interpreter, I moved to Spain in order to gain more experience in Spanish. And as things often happen, I've been here since then. Spain, unfortunately, is not a very aeronautical country, and you cannot compare it to the Central European countries with their intense flight activities. My gliding friends in Germany had meanwhile moved to other places, and so I had gradually abandoned my dream of flying. Many years later, in Madrid, I got to know a person to whom I had been recommended to help solve a business affair in Germany. He gifted me a present for the favor I had done, and he mentioned that he would like to invite me to something special. But not everybody was eager to do or accept it. Curious about this special offer, I asked him to tell me what he was talking about, and he said to me, "I'm a glider pilot in a gliding club in the south of Madrid." I couldn't believe it. Gliding had always been something especially fascinating for me, and the following weekend I already accompanied him to the airfield. And only a few days later, I had my appointment for the medical examination, and 1 week later, I started with my gliding classes. I finally could make my dream come true to becoming a glider pilot. This above-mentioned person afterwards became my best pilot friend. In spring 2000, being on our airfield, I observed how some young people in their wheelchairs were having a look at a glider that I hadn't seen before, and I didn't know its registration number. And I saw how a flying instructor explained them how its steering works. The vertical rudder, usually moved with the pedals, is replaced by an additional stick at the left, close to the airplane. I found out that there had been signed an agreement between the Spanish platform for physically disabled persons, the Spanish Civil Aviation, the Flying School, and Vodafone, which was the sponsor for this new activity for disabled persons, which is a double-seated glider ASK-21. It had been adapted in Germany and brought to Spain. At that time, I still walked, and I considered it a good idea. I couldn't imagine that only 3 years later, it would help me to learn how to fly with a hand control. In May 2003, I had my accident during a winch launch, which caused me a complete spinal cord injury. here you see a video how I usually did my takeoffs. That means in launches with an airplane. That's how you can see it in the video. We are connected with the airplane through a big rope, strong rope, and more or less at the altitude of about 500 meters. The airplane makes a movement like this. I don't know how you say that in English. And this is the sign for me to click off the rope.
It's the rocking of the wings.
Wrapping of the wings. This was a video in which you saw the takeoff with an airplane. That was usually the way I did the takeoffs, and I had done winch launches before, but it had been a long time ago, when one day I was in another airfield, and since I didn't want to make the winch launch by my own, I asked my friend to go with me. And in the very last moment, that's really a warning for everybody, never do anything hurrying, because it was a very hot day, but a thunderstorm was approaching. So suddenly, well, we are going to make the last flight. So Elisabeth, for one, you want to fly with him. He was another pilot friend, so I did that. And more or less at the altitude of 80 meters, the winch blocked. You're going to see now a video where you see the way we go up. The winch is on the opposite side of the glider, and the winch motor blocked. And this is a procedure that you learn when you are doing your instruction. And the procedure normally is to go down straightly. And unfortunately, this pilot friend made a mistake, and he started to turn around, which actually was the beginning of the end, because we started to make a spin and went very, very quickly down to the ground. I remember that I said, oh my God, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, boom. With a good luck that the first impact was on the left wing. So in the turning movement, I smashed my last thoracic vertebra, D12, and this caused me complete spinal cord injury. Complete means that from the belly downwards, I can't move, nor have any sensation anymore. A stall, and I put this video in the presentation because I wanted to demonstrate what gliding is. Well, not this happens to any other plane when it makes a stall, but gliding, since you don't hear any motor noise, you can see that when the plane goes up, the noise gradually stops, and there's one moment of a complete silence before the glider falls.
mudas tú!
¿Cómo no voy a mudar? Esto es una chulada.
¡Wow!
¿Quieres otro?
Vale. ¡Uah! ¡Qué bárbaro el silencio, eh!
When I immediately knew what had happened, I was saying, oh my legs, people were running, oh, you're alive. But I knew what had happened. I knew that I'd end up in a wheelchair. And despite, I have to say that I'm not ashamed to admit that it was not only an immense shock for me. No, it was worse than that. I just didn't want to accept that I should spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair. Nevertheless, and despite the indescribable desperation of the first months, this new situation hadn't finished with my love and passion for flying. I was decided to continue what I most enjoyed, and I keep enjoying. Exactly 3 months after my accident, during a weekend permit that I had been given in the rehab center to spend at home, I asked my pilot friend whether he was ready to take me to the airfield, which by chance was only 40 kilometers away from the rehab center. The first impression arriving at the airfield was hard because I noticed the difference. I couldn't get out of the car and hurry and give all my friends a hug. I just had to wait until they put the wheelchair beside the car. Flying gave me back my joy of life, my energy. While flying, I don't find a too high curve I cannot jump up by my own, or an elevator that's out of work. I felt and feel free again like a bird. Flying turned for me from a hobby into a therapy. I'll explain you briefly. The adaptation is very, very easy. Instead of using the pedals for the vertical rudder, we have at the left side, close to the air brake, which has the blue stick, another stick that moves, that even moves the pedals. That means any other person can also use the glider when I'm not using the stick at the left side. So after my accident, however, the biggest barrier that I came across with were the Spanish authorities, in particular the Spanish Civil Aviation Bureau. I found out that the agreement of 2000 had been declared invalid shortly after being signed because the Aeronautical Medical Department considered it an irresponsibility that a disabled person wanted to become a pilot. So I had to go to court and fight for this right during 7 years until the Supreme Court's decision finally granted me and other disabled persons in Spain to get a pilot's license. First of all, only for gliders, and only recently, listen, only half a year ago, more or less, They let us get a license for engine-powered planes such as ultralight or make the PPL. So at the moment, I'm finally doing my flying lessons in a hand-controlled ultralight plane. I started a couple of years ago, and when they found out, they blocked it again. During the long years of my fight with the authorities, that is in 2005, I founded the association Las Sillas Voladoras, which means the flying chairs, in order to demonstrate to the authorities that I was not the only crazy disabled person, that's how they considered me, who wanted to be a pilot. Here you have the logo of the association, which we have at the back of our proper ESK 21, which are the faces of our members, not all of them. In the meantime, we have almost 200 members. Only about 40 are disabled persons. The big rest are pilot friends, and the other ones are friends of ours who just want to support our activities. And in May 2010, I couldn't believe it really. Yeah, I mean, it's a long story because after having been published that they would allow it in 2008, it took me so long just because they didn't want to give me the medical check, the medical certificate. So actually, I almost lost 2 more years after the court's decision until I finally had my license in my hands. And nowadays, our association's aim is to approach as many disabled persons possible to the aviation. So we offer them flights and help those who have problems to get their medical certificate or with whatever they may want to know or achieve in the aeronautical world. So, Ivana, can you pass on the photos? Well, here you see the logo and the name of our association. Then there come some pictures from our flight events with disabled persons. Here you see me how I get in. But it's not a very elegant way of entering, but I get in. It's just practice. Keep on with the pictures, please. I don't know whether I have a disconnection. Well, this girl will be taken in a little bit afterwards.
No, I think it was before. The girl that you were talking about in the red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
She was before. Hold on. Here, this one.
My problem is that I just see the pictures like cut in pieces.
Can you see it now?
No.
Can everybody else see the picture?
No. Can you see the picture now?
I can see the picture of someone getting in the glider with some help, and she has a red t-shirt.
Yes. Yeah.
The girl was before that. She was just looking at how to get in and how the different controls work, and then we took her. We gave her a flight.
And this one is the group picture. Can you see, Elisabeth? Is it clear? Can everybody else? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I think it's slow on your computer. Okay.
My computer today is not in the best mood, it seems. So
this one is your members, right? And these are all members who are pilots?
All people who are in the wheelchair are members, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was never possible to take them all together at the same time because there was always more than one. Well, they also live in different parts of Spain, so not always they come at the same time. So this was the picture the press in the press conference they made for me after finally having got the license back, because I became the first person, not only woman, the first person in Spain being disabled with a pilot's license. So it was only a glider pilot's license, but it was a pilot's license. And the next picture, is it the one? Yeah, I put this picture because I wanted to demonstrate that we can also participate in competitions in the same conditions. I mean, there's no difference between people who can walk or people who cannot. So there's no sort of Paralympics for gliding competitions. It's just in the same conditions, because once we are in there, we can move, such as I drive in the traffic here in Madrid. I continue telling you that I've been a member of the 99s for 5 years now. And there was Teresa Quemada who introduced me to the organization, and only about a month later, I met Alia in Munich while I was visiting my family there. And then I already went with the 99s to the Jordan meeting in 2015. And together with them, I've managed to travel also to Egypt, to India, and Malawi. Well, actually, the travel to India was organized by my own, but with a meeting with Nivedita and Bobby. You can see us, the three of us at the left. And there's still the Malawi meeting last October.
Oh, we did the Malawi one, sorry, here. Whoops.
Yeah, here it is. You see in that picture on the left side, up on the left side, I was so happy when they took me out of the plane in Blantyre. So I was really enthusiastic and crying for being so happy. Sorry for my bad English, really. When I'm nervous, it's even worse.
You're doing good, you're doing good.
So I'd like to end this talk, this history of mine, with the saying of the Mexican painter Frida Khalo, who said, "What I want my feet for when I have wings to fly." And I think that's what I can say every day. Thank you so much for your interest, and I'm so sorry for the delay and for my bad English, and well, I hope it was a good moment for you.
Thank you, that's great. If you can all unmute yourselves, and if you have questions for Elisabeth, please ask her questions. Go ahead, Karen.
It's not so much a question. I want to say, I hope I can say this without crying. I'm getting all emotional. It was such a pleasure to meet Elisabeth in Africa. It was incredible. And I have nothing but admiration for you, and I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen. Really.
Oops.
Since we've come to know Elisabeth in all the conferences that she's attended, she's been a true inspiration to so many other pilots and student pilots with her story. And I always say how amazing she is to have gone through an accident and still been able to get back in the glider and say, no, I want to fly again. So thank you so much, Elisabeth, for doing this talk. And it's really interesting story of yours, your courage, your inspiration. and facing your fears. I know there were days you probably thought, why am I in this chair, why me? And I can imagine how hard it has been, your journey. But look at what you have accomplished in that time, and there's still so much more that you're always inspiring us what you're doing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
It's Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly introduce everybody to Dr. Andrea. Dr. Andrea is a member of the African 99s, and she will be doing a talk later on in September about her being I am in the wilderness, how she helps clients and patients through stress and anxiety and the way forward in these days and circumstances and challenges we face. So welcome, Dr. Andrea.
Yes, thank you. And I'm so glad, but also technically I had some issues, but I made it also like Elisabeth, so I could reset my password and join. And thank you, Elisabeth, for sharing your story. I'm deeply moved, and I'm very inspired. And sometimes these days one thinks, it's difficult, but sometimes it's hearing your story. I'm very inspired for all these days, sometimes like these bad hair days, that we can go through it. And thank you.
Elisabeth, just so you know, Dr. Andrea is from Germany, right?
Yes, I'm based in Frankfurt and Cape Town, but at the moment not possible because of lockdown.
Yes.
So I'm in Frankfurt, Germany at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
And we got 2 Bavarians and one Middle Germany here. Hallo, servus.
Hello.
Yes, I forgot Karin because you're in England.
Bavarian on exile. 2 Bavarians on exile, right, Elisabeth? One in Spain, one in the UK.
Just for me, Elisabeth, from Laura, thank you. No, that was a great year. I mean, I've learned something again about you that I didn't know. It was always so inspiring to hear you speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Sorry we had all the issues we faced earlier. Oh, Faith, you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I've never met Elisabeth before, but I mean, I'm truly inspired. It's a great honor to be here and actually to meet her on Zoom. And hopefully, I hope, in the future I get to meet her in person, but I'm truly inspired by her story. And what captivated me even more, the saying at the end, why do I need my feet when I've got wings to fly? That is truly beautiful and inspiring. And I think everyone should hear that message coming from her.
Hi, Elisabeth. That was beautiful.
Thank you. How are you?
And I'm very well, thank you. And we definitely miss your energy in Malawi.
Yes, for sure.
I wish I could go there, really. I remember Malawi last year so well, and I was so happy there, really.
Yeah, we were happy to have you too.
But don't worry, hopefully when things get a bit better, we can all meet in Rwanda. Let's pray.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We've always managed to get you to the ends of the earth, Elisabeth. Somehow we always manage to get you to places. So this time we'll get you to Rwanda.
Exactly, we shall.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm ready for
All right. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.